Michigan Outdoor Obsessions Beyond the Backyard is brought to you by Ultimate Archery and Outdoors, Ultimate Deer Products, Red Light Food Plot Seed Company, Edge Attracts Incorporated, Jay's Sporting Goods, and Tacticam. All right, guys, welcome to our first episode of Michigan Outdoor Obsession Beyond the Backyard. This is Steve. I'm here with Tony, and this is a brand new show we're going to be putting on a fairly regular basis, trying to cover what's going on in Michigan, hot topics as far as fishing and hunting, maybe give you some tips. We're not experts. If you can use what we're giving you, great. If you can't, more power to you. But we're here just hopefully kind of give you a little insight. Maybe, like I said, maybe you can use what we bring to the table, and maybe you can't. But first off, I want to thank all of our sponsors that make all of this possible. We got Ultimate Archery Outdoors and Outdoors in West Branch, Ultimate Deer Products, Red Light Food Plot Seed Company, Edge Attracts Incorporated, Jay's Sporting Goods, and Tacticam. So in this episode, we're going to talk about a couple of different things. We're going to go into, we got the spring here, and we have the food plot season coming up here. We're also going to get into some new increases in the prices in hunting and fishing in Michigan that Whitmere has put in a proposal for the 2025 budget. And then we'll kind of answer a couple questions that we've had followers submit in. So first we'll dig in. This is Tony. Tony, tell us what you're all about and your expertise or your knowledge in the.
So my name's Tony Bennett. I own Red Light Food Plot Seed Company. Kind of background a little bit. I've been doing food plots since about 2010-ish, and then made it a company in 2015, and then just kind of carried on through there. Just gone a little bit. I've done a bunch of class work through Michigan State, through the ag world, bunch of stuff through QDMA. So got a little bit of background with agricultural and the whitetail side.
And did you just didn't you just get a certification not too long ago?
Yeah, I went to the QDMA class there online. It's Deer Stewardship 1. They have Deer Stewardship 2, where it's more of an in-person deal, but I did the classroom portion. It was super informal. Mike Kedlar, he's the president of West Michigan's QDMA. It turned me to that. So took the class. It was super informative. And it just gives you a different perspective than just me being out in the woods, hearing other people talk about the different, age groups of whitetails and the different ways people are doing food plots nowadays, and just genetics and diseases and just everything you can possibly think of, they went over.
And there is a million ways to skin a cat. You've heard so many different in the hunting industry. I actually think the hunting industry probably has more opinions on everything than probably any other.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of opinions out there. So it's nice to see some science backing up what they did and just how they see it. So
now, are you seeing is this more like the stuff that you're talking about, you guys went for your class, is it more like natural nutrition, like how to get them in naturally and to give them the stuff they need, or is it like supplement feeding, or what are you?
Yeah, I mean, they went over all the different topics from general browsing to food plots to supplement feeding, and everything's got its pros and everything's got its cons. So they kind of went through every little deal. There's really not one better than the other. It's all in how and what kind of habitat you already have set up for your whitetail or your wildlife in general, set up on your land. So that's kind of what they based it off of. So,
I mean, like I said, I think a lot of people, I feel like that class should be taken by even someone that's not trying to get into like a field of sales or whatever, just for personal knowledge as far as hunting.
Yeah. Yep. It gives you a very good basic overlook of just whitetail deer, the wildlife all around us. So it was very informative, even more for people that just want to know just that little bit more about their habitat and how to make it that much better.
So speaking of habitats and different stuff coming up, I just quick before we tap into the food plots for the spring, I want to
Yeah.
remind people a couple important dates we have coming up here. So in case people already know, April 19th is our Michigan turkey season opener. And another important date for people in Michigan to put in their calendars is April 26th is a statewide trout opener, and Lower Peninsula inland walleye and northern pike seasons all open. So before we dig into it, remember, put those in your calendar. Don't forget. Like I said, obviously people will be out hunting on April 19th in Michigan. Uh, and as far as food plots, I mean, there's your clover and all that kind of stuff you can put in for your turkeys. But um,
Yeah. Yep.
but anyway, so let's dig right into it. The food plots. So I'm getting ready to go for the spring. What do I need to do as what's the first thing I'm doing here? So we just had the snow melt. What are
Yep.
we doing now to get ready for 2025 deer season when it comes to food plots?
All right. So generally in the springtime, you're more or less gonna your number one thing is to get a soil sample of the area you want to plant. I mean that right there is the number one thing you have to get started because you have to have some knowledge of what that soil has before you just start throwing down seed. There is some mixes that you can throw down that will grow, but to get the best bang for your buck, a soil sample is the number one thing you got to hit. Um, this time of year, um, a lot of wildlife needs protein. It's not the carbohydrates like corn and grains and brassicas, but they need protein. I mean, they're starting to drop fawns, bucks are growing antlers. They need that nutrition to build all those um, type of vitamins, minerals, all that. And clover provides a ton of protein. Alfalfa provides a ton of protein. Chicory is also another good one. So those are kind of your basics. Those are called legumes. Stick with those.
Which
Those are
you would
kind of
never,
the
honestly, in a million years, would I ever think of any of those as proteins.
yeah. There's a lot of research behind all of that. I mean, a lot of farmers use that for their cattle and
Yeah.
whatnot. Um, you know, off top of my, it all varies with all the different kinds of varieties of clovers, varieties of alfalfas, how much protein's in each one. So, um, pay attention when you're buying seed. Kind of ask the seed person, dealer, elevator person. They'll kind of guide you through on what kind of mixes work for that area, um, and then go from there. So, um, there is some good over the or on the shelf stuff. Word of advice is if you're going to plant a clover with other seeds such as like chicory, if you're going to do any type of herbicide controlling broadleaf controlling sprays, be very cautious when getting a clover chicory mix because if you're going to kill broadleaf weeds, you will kill your chicory. So you're kind of going against of what you're
I feel like
buying.
this is something
So
that happens a lot.
yeah. uh a little bit. People kind of see pictures on bags and stuff and they jump the gun. They say this is the best stuff ever and it works very well. But then they start trying to control weeds. They start killing the weeds that essentially that they planted and you're just destroying and throwing away money. So,
Now, when you're spraying your food plots like that, is there a
yep.
do you really want to hit them in that first year? The reason I asked that, I
Uh,
asked if maybe when they're young in that first year of
yep.
growth, if they can handle that.
Uh, so when it comes to spraying, you want to have the clover take up a very good root system. You will set the clover back when you spray it or the alfalfa, whatever. Um, when you spray, usually use a pretty common product is Butarac. That's 24D-B, not 24D-D, because the D is something completely different. That's for lawns.
Yeah.
That's for controlling broadleaves and grains and everything like that. But Butarac is safe for clover. But like you said, you want to start off with give the clover some time to grow, get it established. Yes, weeds are going to come up with it. It's part of the process. Mowing clover will help tremendously. Will outrace any
Now,
other
when
plants up.
would you say? At what point do you mow?
once it starts flowering, you'll start seeing the red and the white little flowers start popping up.
Mhm.
It's kind of a good indicator that's a good time to do that because you're going to help the seedlings in those little seed heads kind of distribute, develop more clover. The shoots will start running off that clover, and then you'll eventually the clover will just get thicker.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the basis of that for mowing. And then once you get a pretty good stand, um, that can vary, from ground to ground. So, but
And I
mowing's a
think
good start.
back to your original point, though. I mean, make sure
Yep.
you get your soil tested because
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like there's a lot of false judgment put on seed companies based upon not having soil tested.
Yeah. A lot of people just go out and throw stuff on the ground and expect, the best thing ever. And
Yeah.
you don't see farmers going out and just dropping corn in. No, that's their livelihood. So they're
Do
going
you
to
think
put
clover
everything
is?
in there.
Do you think clover is pretty soil tolerant as far as if you're not the perfect soil?
um, Certain clovers, there's some certain annual clovers that you want to stick with that will help establish faster. There's perennial clovers that'll take a little bit longer because they put more energy into the root system first. Then will the clover start shooting up from that. So, um, you know, s- try to get a good mix when you're looking at clovers of some annuals and perennials. They kind of help each other out in a way. So, try to just do that. Um, Try to read the back of the seed labels. I know a lot of people talk about the coatings and all that stuff. Just try to find a reputable company that stands behind what they're doing and why it's that way and why they put that mix together. So,
Yeah. And
yep,
then like I said, it comes down to the everyone expects these, like you said, these bags to do wonders. You throw the seeds down, all of a sudden you have a food plot. But at the
yeah,
same time, it's your job to soil test. It's your job to make sure you plant it in conditions that make sense. You're not
hmm,
obviously like your other seeds. You're not going to plant it and then not have rain for 3 weeks. So
right,
pay
right, and
attention.
yeah, yeah. So, but it's fertilizer, it's lime,
Yeah.
it's adjusting the soil pH, it's I, hundreds of things. I mean, it's all in what you put into it, what you'll get back out of it. So, I mean, if you're going to put the effort into it, the time to do all the work, I mean, you might as well put all the things that soil test recommends. So,
And
but
can you how long would you say if someone puts a clover plot in today or this year? How long will that sustain before they need to replant it? Or I mean,
uh,
can you just
it all
keep
depends.
overseeding on top of it and filling in the spots? Or I mean, how long is
Yeah.
that going to play out?
So essentially overseeding, which overseeding is a little bit different than frost seeding, which I don't personally recommend frost seeding. There's just things I've learned over the past and me personally doing it and learning from others. But that's a different topic. So, but overseeding is if there is any annual clovers, they're an annual, they will not come back necessarily. So you'll fill in the void spots with those perennial clovers and you'll just continue to establish that thicker, better, lush, more clover plot, alfalfa plot, so on and so forth. So it overseeding is necessary to fill in the void spots, and some clover just dies out based on, maybe it got too much water in this low point of your plot, or the deer just absolutely hammered it down to the dirt and just ate and killed all the root system. I mean, there's various different reasons for it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, hopefully, people are able to pull something from that. Because, like I said, I know my first years, I didn't really know anything, and I've learned a lot just from listening to you as far as do your food plots. Because I feel like too many times you watch stuff, you read stuff, and you try to make an attempt on it yourself, and a lot of times it
Yeah.
comes out a failure. And then like you said, or you blame the seed company, like, man, this stuff doesn't grow well. I should have probably done my part before I
Yeah. It
before I
happened.
blame them.
Yeah, it happens. It's unfortunate, but it does happen.
But
But
now let's dig in. We're gonna now we got the food plot out of the way. Hopefully everyone can use a little bit. And if you have any further questions about this stuff, guys, send me an email. Tony will help you out. Or message, go to Red Light Food Plot Seed Company's Facebook page. Send him a message. He will answer your questions, help you out with whether it may be the right stuff to put in your food plot. If you have a question on how to get your soil ready for the season, just send him a message quick, and he'll make sure to do his best to answer your questions.
Yep.
Next thing, let's dig into the favorite topic when it comes to Michigan is a proposed increase in hunting and fishing licenses in the 2025 budget. There's a $208 million total budget for this next year, and they're trying to make up the third highest amount is coming from the hunting and fishing department. But the way they're increasing prices is pretty crazy. I mean, it's let's see, let's dig into it here. So Governor Whitmer's proposal would increase the base fee for small game hunting from $11 to $17. The combination hunting and fishing would increase from $76 to $115. The cost for base hunting license for seniors would double from $5 to $13. The wild turkey license would increase from $15 to $23. Waterfowl $12 to $18. And then if we dig into the deer license here, the fee for the deer hunting license would go from $20 to $30. The bear would go from $25 to $38. Elk from $100 to $115. And for seniors, the cost of the deer license would almost triple at going from $8 to $23 for a senior citizen tag. For fishing, the budget would increase from $26 to $40 for a fishing license. For seniors, $11 to $30. And then they're increasing all the boat fees too. So as we dig into it, we've heard a lot of things over the last couple of years. The state's always talking about how we're losing hunters. I don't know. They said they haven't raised the prices since 2014. I don't get how you're going to increase the hunters by increasing the prices. It's kind of like the tactic, when people try to say, well, we need more minimum wage, we need more hourly wage. Cool.
Yeah.
On paper, it looks great. But in reality, just like basically if you make a company pay their employees more, all they're going to do is schedule you less and to make up the difference. Well, now you think, well, we're going to get more money, so we're going to charge these people more money. No, you're going to get people that either don't hunt or they're going to just hunt and not buy a tag.
Yeah. I mean, you're nailing it, man. I understand things are more expensive nowadays, and I understand that, we have to pay those people that, the conservation officers, the parks and all that. And I understand all that. But with the amount that they're increasing, it just seems like there's more to what they're trying to budget in my eyes.
I mean, honestly, your budget is $280 million, and the third most thing that you're trying to take from is the hunting and fishing industry.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not understanding why the automotive industry doesn't get tagged or, anything else. I mean,
well, you got to look at this too, though. You got a bunch of politicians sitting in offices that probably have never hunted in their life.
Yeah.
So they're like, just make these people over here pay for this. And to them, $20 ain't a big deal increase. $20 for a person that's making 150, 200 grand a year isn't a huge increase.
Yeah.
But to a guy that's out there, especially the way anyone that's been in the grocery store and seen how much food costs.
Oh, yeah.
And now and how much it already costs by the time you buy your tags, buy your gear. It's like, dude, before you know it, you could have bought a couple cows for the price that you paid for that one deer.
Yeah. I know. And soon fish are going to be as much as the eggs are nowadays. And it's just, man, it's unfortunate it has to be that way, but with how everything goes, everything's getting more expensive. So I understand that, but
I've always asked this question. I said, I always feel like Michigan is like completely just out of the loop when it comes to like everything outdoors, fishing, hunting. I feel like you look at the way they handle the deer management in the state of Michigan. I feel like they do the opposite of every other good state around in the Midwest. You got Illinois, Kansas, Ohio, all these states that just feel like they have it locked in, and everything just they have big bucks, they have good fisheries, and somehow here we just can't figure it out. Somehow here in Michigan,
Right.
we just like do the complete opposite of what every other good state does.
Yeah. I mean, and that's understandable because they just I, maybe they don't want to be showed up by these other states, and they're going to try to find the new innovative way to do all this.
And that's
But
what I feel like. I feel like they got to be like the
it's
cool. They got to be like the cool hip.
the cool kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cool kid in the group. But needless to say, I mean, I've been hunting for a long, long, long time, and you know, Michigan has great potential. It absolutely does, but it is mismanaged. I will say that. It's we just got to find a way to balance everything out, and this is kind of give a little things that we've guys I've talked to, people I've talked to, classes I've gone to, research, all this whole 9 yards. I understand that we have to take does, and I get the point of that. But some of the ways that they're trying to manipulate these licenses and stuff, I I don't know. I just don't agree with how they're doing it. So
Yeah, that's
I
the thing. Is
there's
there any science behind any of it? You know what I'm saying? Is it just done in hey, let's try this out, or is there actual like data that's
it,
telling them that this is how you do stuff?
the so I will admit there is data behind managing does and population density and stuff like that. There is absolutely scientific proof. There is research. It's documented that managing does will help out. But when you go in and you slaughter hundreds of thousands of does, on a farm, or because you had CWD in this area and you're going to try to control it by just wiping out the deer population, you got to understand it's going to take a long, long, long time for that herd to redevelop, get set back going. You start getting your good bucks coming through, your healthy does giving off, triplets or twins, and it's I don't know, man. It is mismanaged heavily, and how they go about doing that, I don't know. I don't agree with. I have different opinions on that. With I agree you got to shoot does. I mean, 100% you got to shoot does. There's no doubt about that. But the way they go about it, where they're just handing out doe tags, like it's just, you keep paying me to get doe tags. That's ridiculous. You know what, I like, you
And
know,
just how they're
it,
trying to take, just how they're trying to make their money back, though. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. And
I mean,
it's a money. The whole thing's a money grab. We all know this. If you
no,
if you don't think this is a money grab, you're you're being blinded right now. So,
yeah.
but the whole thing's a money grab. It's the whole hunting industry starting to turn into a money grab thing in my eyes. I mean,
And
it's
then you're like you're
it's
sitting here and going, okay, we're gonna make our money here,
yeah.
and you decide, hey, let's go after those senior citizens. I know that they're only paying $8 for a tag right now. Let's charge them
Yeah,
23.
let's literally stick it to them.
Like
Yeah, they're
the one literally the one group of people that can't handle an increase.
mhm,
I mean, most
yeah.
people are on Social Security or
Oh
retirement.
yeah,
They're on a fixed income, and you're gonna
yep,
go after the one class of people that can't take the hit.
yeah. Yeah, it's just let's personally attack them, and then everybody else.
I
Let's
appreciate
not.
all you've
It,
done. I appreciate all your
yeah,
years of
all your
service.
yeah, for working, but we're gonna charge you the most. So, yeah, dude, it's a whole money grab. I
I've
disagree
always
with
asked
how a
this
lot of
question though.
that.
It's
It's
like,
just going.
why are there politicians involved in anything that comes to with our hunting and fishing industry in Michigan? They should have no say of like you got all these politicians sitting
You,
around and they're telling you like what the season should be and like the no baiting and
mhm.
all that stuff. And it just doesn't make sense to me how you have a bunch of guys that probably never been out in the woods or never been on a
Yeah,
boat fishing are trying to set the
The-
prices and the standards for all of us.
yeah. So okay, I'll kind of go back on you on this one just a little bit, but if there's somebody leading the charge, if we have good biologists, good people that can study and understand how to manage a herd without costing an arm and a leg to do this, the state or the politicians should really let these guys go with it. When the state gets a hold, or any politician gets a hold of something, I know it's going to go to hell. It just does. It's a poor thing. Let the people that know how to run or have studied, went to school, understand how to manage this wildlife industry. This is what they went to school with. They're the experts in it, yet you have no opinion on it, have never gone to school for it, and are going to tell this person, no, we're going to change the seasons and the costs because I feel this is the right thing to do. So that's how I see all of that.
It's just
Yeah,
it's a circus, man. That's what it seems like at times.
you see it every day on TV. Every day is a
But like
circus
I
and
said,
the
they're
politician.
talking about how they're losing hunters every year,
Yeah,
how it's decreased, and every move they
eh,
make does nothing to increase that. Every
right.
move they make is the opposite,
Yeah,
or
I mean,
they're encouraging, not encouraging, but you're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna do the whole shoot first, tag later. And I'm not
yeah,
saying that's right. I'm not saying you should do that,
no, no,
but
no,
I'm just
no.
saying
But
that that's the realistic part of this.
you're giving people that avenue to take. I mean, I honestly, I don't want to pay $30 to shoot a deer. That's unheard of. If I
Yeah,
was out of state, that's understandable. But
yeah.
to where I live in Michigan, that's ridiculous. I don't. But
Hey, don't worry, don't worry. Your senior citizens got you covered.
they'll pay for your tags. You'll be all set. So
Next time I see a retiree at the place, I'm gonna pat him on the back. Hey, thanks, buddy.
yeah,
Thanks for covering that big chunk for me.
yeah,
I'll buy your coffee.
exactly. So yeah, man. I don't
I
know
was
what
just,
else.
hey, like any other type of government, man, you're at their mercy. So,
Yep, we both worked in the government industry. Well, some of
yep,
us still do.
yep.
So yeah, we understand.
You
Uh,
just say yes sir, no ma'am, and you just do what you're told and hold
that's
on.
you got it.
All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for this
Okay.
episode of Beyond the Backyard. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back soon with another episode of Beyond the Backyard. If you ever have any questions you'd like us to answer on Beyond the Backyard, make sure you send them to michiganoutdoorobsession@gmail.com, and we will answer them live here on this podcast. So for me and Tony, thanks for tuning
Uh,
in, and we will talk to you soon.